Today, I stand in the radiant awareness of abundance, not as a dreamer waiting for fortune's favor, but as one who has already claimed it. I am a multimillionaire from today, for I have aligned my thought, my word, and my vibration with the divine law of prosperity. Wealth is not something that comes to me. It is something that flows through me. I have removed every shadow of doubt, every belief in limitation, and in its place, I have planted the golden seed of certainty. That seed blossoms now, unfolding into form, opportunity, and manifestation. There is a law that governs all supply, a law as precise and dependable as the law of gravity. It does not respond to worry or striving. It responds to faith and spoken word. I have spoken my word, and the universe has hastened to perform it. The riches that belong to me by divine right now rush to me with speed and precision. Every door that once seemed closed now opens with ease. Every channel of increase is now clear. I am a clear vessel for abundance, and abundance delights to find expression through me. I no longer measure my wealth by coins or numbers, but by consciousness. The consciousness of prosperity is the true gold mine, and I have struck its richest vein. I see myself surrounded by beauty, comfort, and plenty. Every breath I take affirms that I live in an opulent universe, where there is no lack, no delay, no denial. Divine substance fills every corner of my world. It takes the shape of perfect opportunities, loving collaborations, and effortless success. I have learned that money is divine energy, and when treated with love and gratitude, it multiplies without strain. I bless every dollar that passes through my hands, for it returns to me tenfold. I bless the success of others, knowing that in truth there is no competition, only infinite supply, endlessly expressing in countless forms. What I give, I receive. What I affirm, I become. Today marks not a beginning but a recognition, the recognition of what has always been mine. I am the heir to divine abundance, and I now claim my inheritance. I have stepped out of the old thought of struggle and entered the radiant vibration of plenty. Every cell in my being sings the song of prosperity. I am magnetized to wealth, and wealth is magnetized to me. My words are creative decrees, and as I speak I mold substance into form. I see rivers of gold energy flowing toward me now, carrying ideas, people, and resources that lift my life into magnificent expression. I am calm, confident, and expectant, for I know the law is working perfectly. My wealth consciousness is complete. My success is inevitable. I am a multimillionaire from today, and today is eternal. Wealth begins in consciousness, not circumstance. This truth is the cornerstone of all manifestation, the hidden law behind every visible success. It is not the outer world that determines our riches, but the inner state of mind we hold with unwavering conviction. The world of form merely mirrors the images impressed upon it by the world of thought. Every fortune, every empire, every stream of prosperity began first as an invisible idea, nurtured in the garden of the mind. When one awakens to this, they cease to chase after wealth, as though it were something apart from them, and begin instead to cultivate the inner soil from which all abundance springs. There are many who toil, striving with anxious effort to acquire possessions, yet remain bound in limitation. Their minds are filled with fear of loss, with doubt and comparison, and so their labor bears fruit that quickly withers. But one who knows that consciousness is the true source does not strive. They align. They understand that the outer world is but a canvas, and thought is the brush that paints upon it. If one's inner picture is clear, radiant, and sure, the outer scene cannot help but conform. Consciousness of wealth is not merely positive thinking. It is a deep recognition of divine substance as ever, present and infinite. It is the awareness that the universe is abundant beyond measure, and that every individual is a channel through which this abundance may express. When a person holds this realization, fear dissolves. They no longer ask, "How will it come?" For they know it already exists in the unseen, waiting only for recognition to take form. They release the anxious grasp of wanting and enter the calm assurance of having. The consciousness of wealth is built through thought discipline and spiritual vision. It requires the individual to refuse the old habits of lack, thinking that have been taught and repeated through generations. Every thought of limitation must be recognized and replaced with a declaration of sufficiency. When one says, "I am surrounded by infinite substance," and feels the truth of it, they tune their vibration to the frequency of supply. That vibration draws to them ideas, people, and opportunities that match its tone. There is no accident in wealth. There is no luck in abundance. There is only law, divine, immutable, and precise. The law responds to the pattern of consciousness. A consciousness filled with fear and resentment cannot hold prosperity, for it is in conflict with the energy of flow. But a mind that sees beauty, gives thanks, and trusts in the unseen source becomes magnetic to riches of every kind. To build this consciousness, one must begin with thought, then word, then feeling. It begins by noticing the mental atmosphere within. When thoughts of not enough arise, they must be gently but firmly replaced with, "I have all that I need, and more is on the way." This is not mere denial of facts. It is the assertion of truth. Facts change, truth remains. Facts may say that the bank account is low, truth says that divine substance is unlimited. To dwell in truth is to become immune to outer fluctuation. Consciousness determines circumstance. Two people may stand side by side, facing the same conditions, yet one prospers while the other fails. The difference lies not in opportunity, but in awareness. The prosperous individual sees every challenge as a doorway to greater expression, while the one bound by limitation sees only obstacle and defeat. The difference is internal. When consciousness expands, circumstances rearrange themselves to match the new pattern. There is great power in visualization, for it imprints the inner realm with form and color. When one holds the mental image of abundance, not as a wish, but as a certainty, they are preparing the mold into which substance will pour. The law of the mind is that what one continually pictures and feels must appear in experience. Therefore, to live richly, one must think richly. Every object in the visible world was once invisible, held first in the secret chambers of imagination. The architect must see the building before it rises. The inventor must see the machine before it moves. The prosperous soul must see their wealth before it manifests. The mind that is rich in gratitude magnetizes increase. Gratitude affirms ownership of blessings not yet seen. When one gives thanks for wealth before it appears, they acknowledge that it already exists in divine substance. This attitude releases the vibration of acceptance, and what is accepted must appear. Complaining and worry shut the gates of abundance, but praise and gratitude fling them wide open. True wealth consciousness is not born of greed or attachment, for those are forms of fear disguised as desire. It is born of knowing that one's good benefits all, that there is no depletion in giving, and no danger in receiving. The one who is conscious of wealth blesses every exchange, knowing that money and supply are divine energy circulating freely. They do not hoard or fear loss, for they know that the source is infinite and inexhaustible. This detachment invites even greater flow, for divine substance cannot fill a vessel already clenched shut by anxiety. Every thought is a seed, and the soil of consciousness is always fertile. One must therefore guard the garden of the mind with vigilance. To allow seeds of worry or scarcity to take root is to invite their harvest. The wise gardener plants only what they wish to grow: thoughts of abundance, security, and joy. Each affirmation, each visualization, each act of faith waters these seeds until they sprout and blossom into tangible wealth. Outer circumstances may momentarily contradict inner knowing, but the one anchored in true consciousness does not waver. They understand that appearances are temporary and that substance is eternal. They remain poised, speaking words of truth, until the outer form aligns. This steadfastness is the mark of mastery. The one who can hold wealth in thought, even when appearances deny it, will soon hold it in hand. It is not work or chance that makes one rich, but the invisible vibration that precedes both. Work guided by inspired consciousness produces effortless success. Action taken from fear produces toil and exhaustion. The difference is inner posture. When consciousness leads, effort becomes expression, not struggle. The wealthy mind acts from completeness, not from need. Every gesture, every decision carries the quiet power of certainty, and that certainty shapes results. Wealth begins in consciousness because consciousness is the mold, the pattern, the architect of experience. Circumstance is only the reflection, mutable, secondary, obedient. To reverse the order is to chase shadows, but to master the inner is to command the outer. Once one grasps this truth, the pursuit of wealth transforms into the practice of awareness. The individual becomes still, receptive, and centered, knowing that by aligning thought with truth, the whole world must conform in kind. Wealth is not attained, it is revealed. It has always been present, hidden behind the veil of false belief. When the mind awakens to its divine inheritance, the veil lifts, and the treasures of the universe pour forth. Every atom of creation vibrates with abundance, awaiting only recognition. The moment one truly knows that wealth begins in consciousness, they step into harmony with the rhythm of supply, and all things necessary for their good begin to move toward them with precision and grace. Spoken words shape and summon abundance. Every word uttered carries vibration, power, and intention. Words are not idle sounds drifting through air. They are creative forces shaping the invisible substance of life. The tongue is the sculptor of experience, molding divine energy into form. What one continually speaks becomes the decree by which the universe organizes itself. The law of manifestation listens not to wishful thoughts, but to words that carry conviction, faith, and expectancy. Words are seeds planted in the soil of the subconscious, and the harvest they yield is determined by the tone, emotion, and belief behind them. The universe responds to the language of vibration, and spoken words are vibration made audible. When an individual declares abundance, health, and success with feeling, they send forth waves of creative power that cannot return void. Each statement becomes a command to divine substance, instructing it to take shape accordingly. The law does not distinguish between careless talk and deliberate speech. It obeys both with impartial precision. Thus, one who speaks of lack, struggle, and difficulty unknowingly perpetuates those very conditions. The one who speaks of prosperity and joy summons the forms that match those vibrations. Speech is the bridge between thought and form, the divine instrument through which the invisible becomes visible. When words are spoken with authority and belief, they awaken corresponding conditions in the outer world. The ancient wisdom that says, "By thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned," is not a moral warning but a statement of metaphysical law. Every utterance is a decree, and the universe fulfills the decree whether it be of good or ill. To speak lightly of poverty, failure, or misfortune is to sow the seeds of those experiences, for the subconscious mind accepts all words as instruction. It does not question humor, habit, or exaggeration, it only creates according to pattern. Therefore, one must speak as though every word is sacred, for in truth it is. Words clothed in faith are creative lightning. They strike the field of divine substance and ignite manifestation. When one declares, "I am wealthy," the phrase is not mere affirmation, it is an announcement to the universe that a new reality is being born. If the statement is spoken with conviction, it calls forth corresponding evidence. If it is spoken with doubt, it scatters energy and delays results. The power of speech lies not only in the words themselves, but in the consciousness that animates them. A single phrase spoken in unwavering faith can dissolve years of struggle, while endless talk without conviction produces nothing but echoes. There is immense value in speaking words of praise, gratitude, and joy. These vibrations are high and magnetic. When the tongue blesses instead of complains, it aligns with divine order, and abundance flows naturally. Words of blessing heal relationships, attract support, and open doors. Every word carries a frequency, and gratitude is one of the highest. When one continually says, "Thank you for my increasing good," even before visible evidence appears, they tune their vibration to the rhythm of receiving. The universe rushes to confirm what has been spoken in faith. It is wise to remember that every "I am" statement is a command to the creative law. When one says, "I am tired," "I am broke," or "I am unlucky," they bind that energy to their experience. But when they declare, "I am strong, I am prosperous," or "I am divinely guided," they unlock the gates of abundance. The "I am" is the divine name within every individual, the spark of God declaring itself. To misuse it is to declare limitation upon the self. To use it consciously is to invoke power. Each time the sacred words, "I am," are followed by truth, light and plenty, they magnetize the good that corresponds. Speech creates atmosphere. One who habitually speaks words of worry creates an atmosphere of heaviness and resistance. Opportunities seem to fade, and progress stalls. Yet one who speaks words of confidence and expectation radiates an aura that draws cooperation and favor. People, ideas, and circumstances respond to vibration before they respond to action. A spoken word charged with faith is a silent invitation to divine intelligence to arrange all details harmoniously. When challenges arise, the disciplined soul does not speak of defeat, they speak of victory. They affirm that divine order is unfolding, that all things are working together for good, even when appearances seem contrary. Words of power are not reactive, they are creative. The individual who holds their tongue until they can speak from calm certainty commands the situation. Rash speech dissipates energy. Deliberate speech concentrates it. The tongue that blesses in the face of difficulty wields a higher law than circumstance. To shape abundance through speech, one must develop awareness of habitual language. Many impoverish themselves through careless conversation, saying things such as, "Money doesn't last," "I can't afford that," or "Nothing ever works for me." Each of these phrases is an unconscious affirmation of limitation. The law of mind does not interpret sarcasm or humor, it takes every statement literally. Therefore, it is essential to replace such words with declarations of truth. Instead of, "I can't afford it," one might say, "It is not yet in divine order for me to have that, but all my needs are abundantly met." Such language keeps consciousness aligned with prosperity while acknowledging the moment. The practice of spoken affirmation rejuvenates the subconscious mind. Repetition of positive, present, tense statements imprints new patterns upon the inner self, and the outer world begins to mirror them. The key is consistency and feeling. Empty repetition has little effect, but when one speaks with deep emotional conviction, the subconscious accepts it as fact. Over time, the new belief crystallizes and manifestation follows naturally. Words spoken aloud carry more power than silent thoughts, for the vibration of sound intensifies the impression. This is why declarations, prayers, and chants have endured through centuries. They activate the creative law by sound and faith combined. One may notice that after declaring certain affirmations, old patterns of doubt rise to the surface. This is not failure but cleansing. The spoken word stirs the depths of consciousness, bringing to light every contradictory belief that has been hidden. As one continues to speak truth despite appearances, these old patterns dissolve. Persistence in the right word is mastery. The spoken word is like a chisel cutting away the stone of limitation until the image of divine abundance stands revealed. The wise person speaks only of what they wish to see made manifest. They refuse to discuss lack, sickness, or failure except to deny their power. They fill their speech with images of joy, harmony, and prosperity. They know that words impregnate the atmosphere with vibration, and that the universe reproduces whatever vibration dominates. When one speaks blessing over their finances, their home, their work, and their relationships, they sow the seeds of beauty and success. Every prayer, every declaration, every spoken word of truth is an act of creation. The individual stands as co-creator with divine intelligence, shaping substance through sound. The moment a word of abundance is spoken with faith, unseen forces begin to rearrange themselves to fulfill it. People and events are drawn into alignment, and the word moves through time and space until it manifests in form. Speech is therefore sacred. To speak without awareness is to scatter power, to speak with awareness is to command it. When one understands that words shape and summon abundance, they begin to guard their speech with reverence. They no longer speak casually of limitation, nor do they indulge in idle complaint. Their tongue becomes a wand of creation, used only to bless, affirm, and direct good. They speak as if the universe listens to every syllable, for indeed it does. Each word becomes a thread in the tapestry of destiny, each declaration a spark that lights the path ahead. And as they continue to speak truth with faith and joy, life itself echoes back those words in the form of ever unfolding abundance. Faith, not effort, activates divine supply. True prosperity is never the result of strain, struggle, or endless labor. It is the outflow of inner assurance. Faith is the key that unlocks the invisible treasury of the universe, while effort without faith is a closed circle of exhaustion. The world teaches that one must work harder, plan longer, and compete fiercely to attain wealth. But the divine law reveals something entirely different. It shows that abundance responds not to tension but to trust, not to haste but to harmony. The individual who learns to stand in calm expectancy, who believes in divine provision even when outer evidence is absent, becomes a magnet for miracles. Faith is the invisible substance of all manifestation. It is the confident knowing that what is unseen is already real in the realm of spirit. Every visible form begins as invisible substance, and faith is the bridge that draws it forth into manifestation. When one believes with unwavering certainty that their good is already prepared, they open the channel through which divine supply flows. Faith is a creative vibration, and that vibration commands form to appear. The one who works without faith builds upon sand, but the one who believes while acting in alignment builds upon the rock of divine assurance. Effort that springs from fear or insecurity blocks the very flow it seeks to attract. When one toils anxiously, they are affirming through vibration that they do not yet possess what they desire. And the universe mirrors that belief perfectly. The harder they strive, the more distant the goal appears. Faith, on the other hand, affirms completion. It says, "It is done." This inner state of fulfillment dissolves resistance, allowing the supply to manifest with ease. Faith relaxes the heart and opens the channels through which divine ideas and opportunities appear. It is not inaction. It is inspired action flowing from a place of certainty rather than fear. Divine supply is infinite and omnipresent. It surrounds every individual at all times, waiting only for recognition. Faith is that recognition. It is the acknowledgement that the universe is benevolent, that substance is intelligent, and that every true need is already met. The mind that doubts, worries, or calculates from limitation cannot perceive this supply. It looks outward and sees scarcity, competition, and delay. But the mind filled with faith sees through appearances and perceives the invisible abundance always at hand. This perception transforms circumstance, for what one truly sees inwardly must appear outwardly. Faith does not mean hope, for hope is still tinged with uncertainty. Faith knows. Hope wishes for something to come. Faith rests in the assurance that it already is. The person of faith walks in calm confidence, speaking words of truth, even when appearances seem to deny them. They do not plead with the universe, they command it through consciousness. They know that divine law never fails, and that substance must obey the vibration of belief. This knowing transforms the invisible into the visible with mathematical precision. There is a subtle but powerful distinction between outer effort and inner faith. Effort is the attempt to control outcomes through physical means alone. Faith allows divine intelligence to arrange the details perfectly. The individual of faith acts when guided, moves when prompted, but never from anxiety. Their actions are efficient, inspired, and timed by intuition. They accomplish more through a few moments of calm guidance than others do through days of restless toil. Faith aligns one with the rhythm of divine timing, where every opportunity comes at the right moment and every door opens with grace. When faith is present, the entire atmosphere of life changes. There is lightness instead of tension, expectancy instead of worry, gratitude instead of grasping. People and circumstances respond to this vibration, for faith radiates confidence that others can feel. Opportunities appear seemingly out of nowhere, yet they are not accidents. They are the natural outworking of the law of faith. The universe mirrors belief. Whatever one deeply expects must appear in some form, for expectation is faith in motion. Faith begins in the unseen. It is cultivated through thought and word long before any visible result appears. One must speak abundance into being, while the fields still look barren, and maintain that declaration until the harvest shows. This steadfastness is not blind stubbornness but spiritual certainty. The one who practices faith learns that feelings of doubt may arise, but they need not be obeyed. They simply return to their inner affirmation. Divine supply is mine now. All that I need is already provided. Such words, spoken from the heart, realign consciousness with truth. The mind trained in material logic often resists this principle, insisting that results come only from hard work and calculation. Yet countless examples show that inspired faith produces results far beyond mere human effort. Ideas, inventions, and opportunities flow through minds that are relaxed and receptive, not tense and overworked. Faith tunes consciousness to the infinite intelligence that knows all ways and means. When one acts from this inspired connection, effort becomes effortless. Things fall into place with uncanny precision, and success unfolds naturally. Faith is a law of vibration, not emotion. It is not a passing feeling of optimism, but a state of certainty that governs energy. When faith is steady, it sends out a clear signal to the universe, drawing corresponding conditions. When doubt interferes, the signal becomes mixed, and results appear delayed or distorted. The wise individual therefore guards their faith as their most precious possession. They nurture it through meditation, affirmation, and gratitude. They refuse to entertain conversations or ideas that weaken belief. They understand that their consciousness is the creative center of their world, and faith is its master key. There are times when appearances seem utterly contrary to one's desire. Bills may mount, doors may close, and opportunities may seem distant. Yet these moments are the testing ground of faith. The individual who can stand firm during the storm, declaring abundance in the face of lack, proves their mastery of law. Faith does not waver at shadows. It knows that every seeming loss is but a clearing of the way for greater good. When one holds fast to the inner knowing that divine supply never fails, the outer situation must eventually yield to that truth. Effort without faith is motion without direction, but faith without inspired action is incomplete. True faith inspires movement, but the movement is guided and harmonious. The one who has faith feels compelled from within to act at the right time, in the right way, with confidence. They are not driven by fear of missing out, for they know nothing truly theirs can be lost. This calm assurance multiplies their effectiveness, for they waste no energy in struggle. Every task becomes infused with purpose, and divine intelligence works through them to bring about perfect outcomes. The great secret of abundance lies in surrendering human struggle and allowing divine order to act. This surrender is not weakness, it is supreme power. It is the recognition that infinite intelligence accomplishes through us what we cannot accomplish alone. When one trusts this law completely, their path becomes smooth, their needs met before they even arise. They live in a rhythm of effortless increase, for faith keeps the channels open. Faith transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. It turns a small idea into a fortune, a single contact into a network of opportunity, a mere possibility into tangible wealth. This transformation does not come through calculation or control, but through surrender to the unseen wisdom that orchestrates all things perfectly. To live by faith is to live in harmony with divine substance, to know that everything one needs is already moving toward them, drawn by the magnetic power of belief. Faith, then, is the creative force that moves substance into form. It is the calm certainty that dissolves limitation and calls forth plenty. When one truly believes, the universe rearranges itself to match that belief. The law is infallible, for it operates beyond human reasoning. One need not understand how the manifestation will appear. Faith alone is the cause, and its result is inevitable. To cultivate faith is to align with the rhythm of divine supply. Where effort becomes joy and manifestation flows without strain, gratitude multiplies every form of prosperity. It is the golden vibration that unlocks the gates of divine abundance, the silent music that harmonizes the soul with universal supply. Gratitude is not merely polite appreciation for visible blessings. It is the deep spiritual recognition that every good and perfect gift already exists within the infinite substance of life. When one gives thanks with sincerity, they attune themselves to the frequency of receiving. Gratitude is magnetic. It draws to itself more of whatever it blesses. The moment the heart overflows with thankfulness, the law of increase is set into motion and prosperity expands in all directions. Gratitude is the language of divine recognition. It acknowledges the invisible good even before it becomes visible. The one who gives thanks for abundance, while still surrounded by apparent lack, demonstrates mastery of the creative law. They affirm that supply exists in the unseen, and that divine order is at work beyond appearances. Such gratitude is not forced optimism, but spiritual knowing. It declares that all things are working together for good, that the universe is benevolent, and that nothing is ever truly missing. This recognition dissolves resistance and opens the way for manifestation to flow naturally. Every thought and feeling carries a vibration, and gratitude is among the highest. When one dwells in gratitude, fear and doubt lose their power. The mind becomes calm, receptive, and open to divine guidance. Ideas flow easily, opportunities appear, and people are drawn into harmonious cooperation. Gratitude transforms the atmosphere of one's life. It softens the sharp edges of circumstance and fills every moment with the quiet radiance of sufficiency. It is the mental equivalent of sunlight, causing the seeds of prosperity to sprout and flourish. When an individual complains, criticizes, or focuses on what is missing, they cut off the flow of divine substance. Complaint is a declaration of lack, gratitude is a declaration of plenty. The law of mind responds perfectly to both. The one who complains receives more reasons to complain, while the one who blesses receives more reasons to bless. This is not punishment or reward, but vibration responding to vibration. Every feeling of gratitude sends out a signal that says, "I have enough, and I am ready for more." The universe answers that signal with increased supply, for the divine always expands where it is welcomed. Gratitude is creative because it transforms perception. When one looks at their life through the lens of thankfulness, they see opportunities where others see obstacles. They find beauty in simplicity, value in experience, and lessons in every delay. This expanded awareness attracts solutions and blessings that anxiety would have obscured. Gratitude sharpens intuition, for it quiets the restless mind and allows the voice of divine wisdom to be heard. The grateful person moves through life with confidence, knowing that each step, whether smooth or rough, is part of a perfect unfolding. The practice of gratitude is a spiritual discipline. It begins with conscious acknowledgement of even the smallest blessings. The breath in one's lungs, the light of morning, the food on the table. As one gives thanks for these simple gifts, their awareness expands to perceive the larger one's health, love, ideas, opportunities, and divine guidance. The more one recognizes, the more one receives. Gratitude multiplies because it focuses attention on abundance, and whatever consciousness focuses upon must grow. This is the law of mind. Attention is creative, and gratitude directs attention to good. There is tremendous power in giving thanks before the manifestation appears. When one expresses gratitude in advance, they declare faith in divine supply. They are saying, "I know my good is already prepared, and I rejoice in its arrival." This act of faith accelerates manifestation, for gratitude is the vibration of completion. It signals to the universe that the desire is fulfilled in consciousness, and therefore it must soon appear in form. Every word of thankfulness spoken in faith is like a seed planted in fertile soil. It cannot help but bear fruit in its appointed time. Gratitude also purifies desire. When one gives thanks for what they already have, their wants are refined from restless craving into inspired intention. The energy of grasping dissolves, replaced by calm expectancy. This inner peace allows divine intelligence to work freely, arranging circumstances without interference. Gratitude removes the sense of struggle and replaces it with grace. Instead of forcing results, the grateful soul allows results to unfold. This shift from demand to appreciation transforms the entire process of creation. To live in gratitude is to live in continuous prosperity. Even before visible wealth appears, the heart that is thankful feels rich. This inner richness is the cause of outer increase. The individual who feels wealthy in consciousness attracts wealth in form, for the law mirrors inner states exactly. Gratitude therefore becomes both the cause and the evidence of abundance. It begins as a feeling and ends as a reality. Gratitude must be genuine to carry power. Empty words spoken without feeling are like hollow shells. They have no creative substance. True gratitude vibrates through every cell of the being. It is felt as warmth, joy, and reverence for life itself. When this feeling fills the heart, it magnetizes every situation toward harmony. People respond kindly, work flows easily, and even challenges become opportunities. Gratitude has the mysterious ability to transmute difficulty into blessing. What once appeared as loss reveals itself as hidden gain. The secret of continuous increase lies in blessing all that one possesses. To bless means to recognize the divine essence within a thing and to call forth its expansion. When one blesses their home, their finances, their work, and their relationships, they infuse them with the energy of growth. To curse, complain, or criticize is to contract that energy. Every object, every circumstance responds to the vibration directed toward it. The individual who blesses everything around them lives in an ever-expanding field of prosperity. Gratitude also dissolves envy and comparison. The thankful person rejoices in the success of others, knowing that every demonstration of abundance proves that the law works for all. They do not fear that another's gain diminishes their own, for gratitude knows no competition. It affirms that there is enough for everyone and that the universe is infinitely generous. This attitude removes the barriers of jealousy and resentment that block supply. When one celebrates another's good, they magnetize the same good to themselves. Even in times of apparent challenge, gratitude holds its power. The one who can give thanks amid uncertainty commands a higher law. They acknowledge that divine order operates even when human reason cannot perceive it. Gratitude in difficulty acts as a spiritual lever, lifting consciousness out of fear and into alignment with infinite wisdom. It transforms worry into trust and scarcity into unfolding good. Many have found that the moment they begin to give thanks for what seems imperfect, the situation begins to change. The energy of gratitude dissolves resistance and allows resolution to appear. The practice of writing or speaking daily affirmations of gratitude strengthens this vibration. By listing the blessings of the day, one trains the mind to focus on abundance rather than absence. Over time, this practice reprograms the subconscious, replacing patterns of worry with patterns of appreciation. The outer world then reorganizes itself to reflect the new inner state. The individual becomes surrounded by evidence of increase, unexpected income, supportive relationships, creative inspiration, and perfect timing. Gratitude also bridges the gap between giving and receiving. When one gives with a thankful heart, they release energy that must return multiplied. When one receives with gratitude, they keep the flow open for more. The circulation of good depends upon this rhythm. To give without gratitude leads to depletion. To receive without gratitude leads to stagnation. Gratitude completes the cycle, ensuring that divine energy continues to move freely through one's life. Every act, thought, and word can be infused with gratitude. When one works with appreciation, the task becomes joyful. When one speaks with thankfulness, their words carry healing power. When one thinks with gratitude, their mind becomes a vessel of peace. This constant awareness of divine goodness creates a field of light around the individual. Within that field, miracles become natural occurrences. For gratitude and miracle are of the same essence. Gratitude is both the seed and the harvest of prosperity. It begins as an inner recognition of divine abundance and manifests as outer increase. It multiplies every form of good because it acknowledges good as already present. The one who lives in gratitude never feels lack, for they are continually aware of the overflowing richness of life. Their consciousness becomes a magnet for every blessing, drawing beauty, love, opportunity, and supply from all directions. True riches flow through alignment, not pursuit. The essence of abundance does not come from chasing, grasping, or striving. It arises from harmony with divine order. When one aligns thought, emotion, and intention with the rhythm of universal law, prosperity becomes natural, effortless, and continuous. The world teaches that wealth must be pursued through competition and relentless ambition. Yet the spiritual law reveals a gentler, surer path. In alignment, there is no struggle, for one moves in accord with the current of divine supply rather than against it. The moment the inner self harmonizes with truth, the outer world begins to reflect that harmony in form, opportunity, and experience. Alignment is the inner agreement between mind, heart, and spirit. It is the quiet confidence that one's good cannot be withheld, because it is already part of their being. When consciousness is divided, when one believes in abundance but feels fear, or affirms success but expects disappointment, the flow of prosperity is obstructed. But when every level of the self is unified in faith and expectancy, divine energy moves freely. This alignment transforms thought into magnetism. The individual no longer runs after success, success is drawn to them. The power lies not in pursuit, but in the still center of alignment. To align with abundance, one must first release resistance. Resistance appears as worry, control, or comparison. The restless need to make things happen by personal effort alone. These vibrations signal to the universe that one does not yet trust in divine order, and so life reflects that uncertainty. The aligned soul, however, trusts completely. They do what is guided, take inspired action, and rest in assurance that everything unfolds at the perfect moment. They are like a vessel carried smoothly by the current of a great river. Their part is to steer with wisdom, not to push against the flow. Alignment requires inner listening. The still, small voice of divine intuition always knows the most harmonious way forward. When one quiets the noise of anxiety and ambition, that voice becomes clear. It may prompt action or rest, movement or patience, but it always leads toward right expression. The misaligned mind, driven by outer desire, acts from fear of missing out or need to control outcomes. The aligned mind acts from certainty that all is already unfolding in perfect order. This difference determines whether wealth comes as burden or blessing. True riches are not only material, they include peace, vitality, love, and purpose. When one is aligned, these elements balance perfectly. Outer wealth without inner harmony is instability. But when the heart and soul are attuned to divine rhythm, material success flows as a natural extension of inner abundance. Alignment ensures that prosperity serves rather than enslaves, uplifts rather than distracts. The one who lives in alignment uses wealth as a channel for expression, creativity, and giving. They recognize money as energy, not as master. Alignment with divine supply begins in thought. Thoughts of lack, jealousy, and fear disrupt the flow. Thoughts of gratitude, faith, and generosity restore it. Every thought emits vibration, and the universe responds precisely. When thoughts are aligned with truth, when one holds the conviction that divine substance is unlimited and ever-present, the outer world rearranges itself to match that vibration. The aligned thinker no longer sees scarcity anywhere, for their vision has been corrected. They perceive abundance in every detail of life, and that perception itself draws more of it into form. The pursuit of riches through struggle stems from the false belief in separation. It assumes that wealth exists outside the self and must be captured or earned through competition. Alignment reveals that wealth is already within consciousness, awaiting expression. One does not acquire abundance, one allows it. The energy of pursuit is effortful and tense, while the energy of alignment is relaxed and magnetic. Pursuit says, I must go after it. But alignment says, it comes through me. The difference is the difference between scarcity and sufficiency. When one is aligned, their timing becomes perfect. They meet the right people, recognize the right opportunities, and act at the right moment. This is not coincidence, but the result of synchronization with divine order. Alignment removes delay. for it harmonizes personal will with universal will. The one who pursues from ego may rush or hesitate, and thereby miss the rhythm, but the one who aligns moves in step with the greater plan. Their path unfolds naturally, without struggle or obstruction, for every step is guided. To cultivate alignment, one must cultivate peace. Anxiety and chaos block intuition, while peace opens the channel. Meditation, prayer, and contemplation restore the mind to stillness, allowing divine intelligence to flow through. The aligned individual spends time daily connecting with the source of all supply, not asking or pleading, but simply recognizing oneness with it. From that quiet recognition comes clarity, inspiration, and strength. Every action taken from that place carries the imprint of divine precision. Alignment is not passivity, it is the highest form of active faith. It does not withdraw from the world, but moves through it with consciousness. The aligned soul performs every task with presence, knowing that each act, no matter how small, is an expression of divine substance. They give their full attention to the moment, and this attention transforms ordinary effort into sacred activity. Work becomes joy, service becomes fulfillment, and wealth flows as a reflection of that joy. When life feels blocked or stagnant, it is never the outer condition that needs changing first. It is the inner alignment that must be restored. One may push and struggle to alter circumstances, but if consciousness remains conflicted, results will fade. When inner harmony is re-established, the outer flow resumes naturally. The law is exact: outer conditions mirror inner states. Therefore, aligning with peace, faith, and gratitude brings forth prosperity as surely as the sunrise brings light. Alignment also governs relationships, creativity, and health. The one who is in harmony with divine law attracts harmonious people, inspired ideas, and physical vitality. Energy flows freely where resistance is absent. This same energy animates every form of success. To align with it is to participate in the universal rhythm of creation itself. Every breath becomes a reminder that one is supported by infinite intelligence, sustained by the same power that moves the stars and seasons. Pursuit, in contrast, exhausts the soul. It seeks to grasp what it believes is missing, and in doing so, perpetuates the feeling of lack. The pursuer never rests, for even when the goal is achieved, fear of loss begins. Alignment ends that cycle. It brings rest to the striving heart by reminding it that nothing real can be lost, and nothing meant can be missed. From this peace arises the true creativity that builds enduring prosperity. The aligned individual lives in trust. They release the need to force results, and instead affirm that everything necessary for their fulfillment is already in motion. This trust creates spaciousness, and in that space, inspiration enters. The ideas that come are often simple yet profound. Ideas that succeed effortlessly, because they are in tune with divine timing. The universe supports every action born from alignment, for such action serves the whole as well as the individual. True alignment also involves integrity. Prosperity gained through deceit or exploitation is discordant and cannot last, for it violates the harmony of universal law. Real riches flow only through channels of honesty, generosity, and love. These qualities are the natural attributes of alignment, for divine supply moves only through truth. The aligned person seeks not to take but to express. Their wealth blesses others, and that blessing returns multiplied. Living in alignment transforms the perception of time. The one who is aligned does not rush or delay, for they understand that divine order unfolds perfectly. They work diligently but without tension, resting in the assurance that everything happens exactly when it should. This rhythm creates a state of ease that others can feel. Opportunities, resources, and support flow towards such a person naturally, for alignment radiates a calm magnetism that draws all good. Alignment is the inner acceptance of divine completeness. It is the understanding that all things necessary for joy, success, and peace already exist in potential and need only to be recognized. Pursuit implies absence, alignment affirms presence. The individual who lives in this awareness ceases to chase after the symbols of wealth and begins to express the substance of wealth from within. As consciousness expresses, form responds. Money, health, relationships, and creative success all become reflections of inner alignment. To maintain alignment, one must continually return to truth. Each time fear whispers that something is missing, one reaffirms, "All that I need is within me and flows to me now." Each time impatience arises, one breathes and remembers, divine timing is perfect. Each time comparison appears, one blesses the success of others and knows that their own path unfolds uniquely. Through such gentle practice, alignment becomes natural. It becomes the silent state of being through which all true riches flow.